In the world of startups, ideas alone don't determine success. Execution is vital, but there's another factor that often plays an even bigger role: timing. Understanding market timing can be the difference between creating a billion-dollar company and suffering an expensive failure. For founders, this means you must always ask yourself, why now? What conditions make this moment the right one to launch your solution? For investors, the same question becomes a litmus test to evaluate opportunity. They don't just want to know that the idea is good or the team is strong. They want proof that the market is truly ready. Timing is the unseen current that either carries a startup forward or drags it under. Asking why now reveals whether the world outside your company aligns with your vision. Because, as history has shown, great companies aren't just built on great ideas, they're built on great timing. Timing is a critical success factor. Many postmortems on startups reveal that companies with excellent products, strong teams, and even ample funding still failed, not because they lacked vision, but because they launched at the wrong time. Conversely, some companies with flaws in execution managed to thrive because they were in sync with market timing. When the timing is right, there's perfect alignment. Technology is ready, cultural acceptance is in place, and economic conditions are favorable. This creates a convergence where adoption accelerates naturally. Customers not only understand the solution, but are primed to embrace it. Even brilliant ideas with flawless execution can collapse if launched too early, when customers aren't ready to change behavior, or too late when entrenched competitors dominate. This is why investors probe so deeply into timing. They ask, why now, to ensure that market conditions truly support the opportunity. The lesson is clear: ideas may inspire, execution may drive, but timing determines whether the market is waiting for you or whether you're trying to force something it doesn't yet want. Several factors shape the readiness of a market, and startups must learn to recognize them. First, technology shifts. Breakthrough technologies often lower development costs or create entirely new platforms. For example, the rise of smartphones enabled entire industries, from ride hailing to food delivery. More recently, artificial intelligence is reshaping industries, opening possibilities that were unimaginable even a decade ago. Second, cultural shifts. As consumer habits evolve, so do opportunities. Generational preferences, lifestyle changes, and evolving attitudes toward work, health, and social connection all create demand for solutions that didn't exist before. Consider how cultural emphasis on wellness and fitness fueled companies like Peloton, or how shifts towards sustainability have created waves of eco conscious startups. Third, regulatory changes. A single law can open up an industry overnight. Deregulation of telecom, legalization of cannabis, or new compliance requirements around data security have all created fertile ground for startups. Regulatory changes not only unlock opportunities, but can also drive mandatory demand. Fourth, the economic climate. Startup success is influenced by cycles of funding availability, consumer spending power, and overall market confidence. Even the best ideas may fail if consumers are too financially constrained to buy or if investors are unwilling to fund growth. On the flip side, downturns sometimes accelerate adoption of cheaper, disruptive alternatives. Together, these factors shape whether the market is fertile or barren. Founders who can read these signals and align with them give themselves a major advantage. How do you know if the market is truly ready? There are four key signs to look for. The first is customer workarounds. If users are already cobbling together multiple tools or manual processes to solve a problem, it's a strong indicator of demand. People only hack together solutions when the pain is significant enough to warrant it. The second sign is adjacent adoption. If related products or services are seeing rapid uptake, it signals that the broader category is gaining traction. For instance, early adoption of cloud storage paved the way for SaaS collaboration tools because customers were already comfortable with the idea of hosting their data online. The third sign is cost convergence. Technologies that were once prohibitively expensive become dramatically cheaper, suddenly making new business models viable. Think of how cloud infrastructure made it possible for small startups to compete with tech giants by renting rather than building massive computing capacity. The fourth sign is market conversation. When an idea starts gaining traction in the media, at conferences, and in industry circles, it creates awareness and primes customers. If people are already talking about the problem, they are more likely to embrace new solutions. When these signals align, you know the conditions are right. The problem isn't just real, it's ready to be solved now. The flip side of opportunity is the risk of misaligned timing. If you launch too early, you face prohibitively high education costs. Customers aren't ready to change behavior, and your startup burns cash trying to convince them. Adoption moves slowly, and your runway evaporates. If you launch too late, you find yourself in a crowded market. Entrenched competitors with deep pockets and established relationships dominate distribution channels and customer attention. Even with a better product, you may struggle to gain traction because others already own the mindshare. There's also the risk of wrong context. Sometimes the world misunderstands your product because the conditions don't yet support it. This isn't just about being early or late, it's about being mismatched. If your solution solves a problem people don't yet acknowledge, it risks being ignored. Timing missteps don't just slow progress, they can waste precious runway. In startups, opportunities often don't come around twice. Mistiming can mean missed markets, and those chances may never return. To see how timing shapes outcomes, let's look at some case studies. First, the perfect timing winners. Airbnb launched in 2008, right in the middle of the financial crisis. Millions of people were desperate for extra income, and travelers were looking for cheaper alternatives to hotels. Airbnb's model of renting out spare rooms aligned perfectly with both needs. The timing wasn't just good, it was crucial. Another example is Zoom. Although founded earlier, Zoom's rise came in the 2010s when cloud infrastructure had matured and remote work culture was accelerating. By the time the global pandemic hit in 2020, Zoom was perfectly positioned. The convergence of cultural acceptance of remote work and technology readiness created unstoppable momentum. Now, let's consider the timing failures. Webvan, the online grocery company, launched in 1999 with an idea that looks familiar today. But at that time, logistics infrastructure wasn't ready. Consumers weren't comfortable ordering groceries online, and mobile adoption hadn't happened yet. The idea was right, but the timing was disastrously wrong. The result was a collapse after hundreds of millions of dollars in losses. The key insight is that winners matched macro trends with genuine user demand. They didn't just have great ideas, they launched them at the exact moment when the world was ready to adopt. Losers had ideas that were either too early or misaligned with readiness, and no amount of funding or execution could fix that. Timing, as these examples show, can be the ultimate multiplier or the ultimate killer. In the end, the question why now is not just a theoretical exercise, it's a strategic test of alignment. Startups don't exist in isolation, they exist within a web of technological, cultural, regulatory, and economic forces. The founders who succeed are those who can read these forces and position their companies at the intersection of readiness and demand. As a founder, your challenge is to prove that your opportunity isn't just good in theory, It's right for this exact moment. As an investor, your job is to evaluate whether a team is surfing the right wave at the right time. The lesson is sobering but empowering. Brilliant ideas launched at the wrong time can fail, while well timed ideas, even with flaws, can thrive. Great companies are not just built on vision or execution alone, they are built on timing. Mastering the why now question ensures you aren't just building something valuable, but building it at the moment the world is ready to embrace it.